Hey, peace and blessings, brothers and sisters, coming to you today with your wisdom nuggets in regards to allowing yourself, to love. Sometimes we have been, hurt by people, and sometimes we tend to, you know, not allow ourselves to love because it seems that, loving sometimes is painful because it seems like we don't get the same love back, that we're disseminating to other people. And sometimes we find ourselves with a broken heart. We find ourselves being the one that's doing the sacrificing. We find ourselves being the one that's reaching out to communicate. We find ourselves being the one that's giving. But the other party is not giving us that same love back. And sometimes, we find ourselves in a place where we actually see that we love conditionally. And so thus, well, I'll love them if they love me the same way, that I love them, And sometimes, what we do is we hold on to what the person said, what the person did, and we find ourselves becoming bitter on the inside. And, being bitter is kind of like, having a clogged artery in your heart. When you have a clogged artery, it'll eventually cause you to have a heart attack. And in order for you to be able to love people properly, in order for that love to be able to flow, through you properly, you have to be able to forgive what those persons, or that person, have done to you. And you may be saying, AD, you just don't understand, what they said to me, what they did to me. It seems like, every time I turn around, I'm being stabbed in the back. It feels like, my heart, has been ripped out, so many times. I tried to love a woman, but it seems like she just wants me for what I have. I try to love a man, but it seems like the only thing he wants from me is just sex. I try to trust in them, and I find myself, being in a place of being brokenhearted. I try to show love, and when I stick my hand out, they push it away. They step on me like I'm a doormat. I want to share something with you today. First and foremost, love doesn't equal you being a doormat. Love does not equal you being somebody's verbal or physical punching bag. Love does not mean that, they get to say and do to you whatever they want to say and do, and you don't react. You don't hold them accountable for what they said and what they did. When you love somebody, you must fully understand that, you're going to receive, some bitter returns. Okay. Even though you're giving them, candy, and they're giving you dirt. And sometimes, it's best for you just to love that person from a distance. And sometimes, you have to clean your house, if you will. Sometimes you have to, let certain people go, because what they continue to do is to use you and abuse you. And a relationship, you have to fully understand that, if they're not giving you what you're giving them, stop sticking around trying to wait, for them to give you what you've been dishing out. Sometimes, I'm just going to say it the way it is, that, we sometimes put ourselves through hell. And how we do this is by us holding on to people, that is not worth our time. Sometimes, you have to let people go. You know, understand this. You don't get rid of somebody that is of some value to you. It's just like, you know, when you throw away something, you don't throw away something that's of some value to you. What you do, you get rid of those things that are not of some value. And so you got to get rid of those things that's in your heart. You know, if you want to find, you know, that special someone in your life, you know, you have to let go of those things that happen to you. And also what you got to do is slow it down. I'm telling you from personal experience. I'm not talking to you, you know, from a position of me never being in any failed relationships. That's the reason why I'm able to talk to you, because I finally found, you know, the love of my life. But guess what? I would have never found the love of my life, my wife that I have now currently, you know, if I would have never let go of my past experiences. You know, it's a difference between learning from what you went through and holding on to things in your heart. You know, that's a big difference. It's a big difference between you being cautious, you know, about never making a mistake again, and you holding things in your heart that's keeping you from loving that person and keeping, you know, you from allowing that person to love you properly. And sometimes, you know, what happens is fear settles in. Well, you know, every time I gave my heart to somebody, it seems like, you know, I was ill treated. You know, but what you got to do is, you know, you have to just simply make sure, you know, that that person is truly the one for you. You may say, well, I married people before, then they end up not being, you know, the person who I thought they were. You know, guess what? You still can't give up on love. You still got to be willing to roll the dice of love and take that gamble, you know, because you'll never find out. You know, if you allow the fear of the unknown to control your life, you will never be able to advance and to be able to find, you know, that special someone in your life, because you're continuing to hold on to things, you know, that you went through in your past. And, you know, what you're doing is you're causing yourself to, you know, be stagnant, you know, and there's no momentum in your life because, you know, you're emotionally turning your wheels. You're spinning your wheels. You're not going anywhere. You're like in an emotional quicksand type setting, you know, and you're not going anywhere. Why? Because you continue to focus on what's in your past. Listen, you can't drive a vehicle, you know, by looking backwards. Going forward, you can't go forward by looking backwards. Last time I checked, you know, when you go backwards, you know, when I was taught how to drive, you go backwards and you look back and you ensure that that vehicle is in reverse. You know, it's time for you to put that vehicle in drive, and it's time for you to go forward, and it's time for you to get your focus in the right direction, and it's time for you to let things go so you can find, you know, love in your life, man. You know what I'm saying? You got to understand, too, that nobody's perfect. You're not perfect either. And now some of you say that, oh, I know I'm not perfect. Well, why when somebody make one mistake, you start running? You know, you can't get nowhere by running. You got to learn how to stand your ground. You got to put in the work for it to work. You know, you can't run, you know, when somebody make a mistake, somebody say something wrong, somebody do something wrong. And then you're saying, well, I don't expect nobody to be perfect. Well, why every time somebody do something wrong, something you don't like, say or do, you're gone. You tap out, you run. Why? Because as soon as you see anything that happened from your past, there's one sign, oh, I got to get out of here, because, and it depends on what it is. I'm not talking about verbal abuse or physical abuse. I'm talking about somebody just making a mistake. Making a mistake. May say something, you know, to you that didn't even know that they said it, that it would hurt you, or did something they didn't even know that bothered you, you know? You know, so it's important for you to, you know, pay attention, you know, to how you're conducting yourself and how you're reacting. Because sometimes, you know, we put things on other people and it's actually us. So we're talking about, you know, on today, the matters of the heart. You know, you have to deal with your heart, you know, and you got to let those things go. Because also bitterness, it's a medical proven fact that it will even cause illness in your life, you know. And then also what you'll end up doing is you'll end up lashing out at people that haven't even done anything to you. You know, And you're going to find yourself constantly in a revolving door in a relationship. What I mean is you're going out and you're coming right back into one. You're going out, you're getting into another one, and you'll never have a stable relationship. And you sit up there wondering what, it's somebody else. It's somebody else. When in all actuality, it's actually you. You have to face the reality about yourself, and you got to let your past go. You got to let your present go. All right. In order for you to obtain the blessings that's here for you in your present and that's futuristic, you have to, let those things go, man. You got to, learn how to love, man. You know what I'm saying? And love is very important. You know what I'm saying? It's one of the foundations of a solid relationship. You know what I'm saying? Love is the key. Love is the key. Because, see, you could give somebody gifts and it don't mean that you love them. Somebody could pull out the chair for you, my sisters, and give you roses and buy you nice gifts. And, don't let that fool you either. Watch them. Remain to be celibate. Because, see, what happened is a lot of times people end up giving themselves to somebody, sexually, and then they feel like they're being used by the person, and the person leaves them, and now it's something, oh, you just wanted me for sex. Guess what? I guarantee you, if you don't give yourself to that person until they put that ring on the finger, you're going to find yourself in a good place. And, this is men included, man. It's best not to even put yourself in that situation. You know what I'm saying? I know it's difficult, for celibacy. I'm not going to sit up here and tell you I never made a mistake and everything else like that. That's why I'm able to tell you that. I'm able to talk, from a place of experience. It's best for you not to give yourself to anybody sexually until you and that person make a covenant, and both of you know, male and female alike, and being with somebody of the opposite sex, of course, you know what I'm saying, that, they're the one. You need to solidify it. That's what you need to do. Stop putting yourself in that position, to be hurt like that. Stop letting people, into your life. Oh, he did something that, never been did before, and oh, he said this and he did that, No, don't let that fool you, because, let me tell you something, and it's not like you don't know this, but sometimes, you don't like to deal with this reality, but, you got a sex addict out there and they'll say and do anything to have sex, just like a drug addict. They'll lie. They'll tell you they love you and everything else. No, when that joker put that ring on your finger, you living in the same residence, then you do what you got to do. Then you release yourself, intimately. I'm talking about sexually, I know some people may not agree with that, whatever. The situation is. I'm just telling you, don't do it until you get a solid confirmation, that person is the one for you. That's all I'm telling you, and also let go, so you can find love, and so that you can, have a solid relationship, and that, your relationship can be healthy. Okay. It could be strong. It could be vibrant, and allow love to be the foundation of your relationship. Love you. Peace and blessings.